Let's start before the coffee even begins. For many people, the first awkward part is inviting someone.
Yes, because somehow asking, "Do you want coffee?" can feel as serious as proposing marriage.
That is a little dramatic.
A little? Speaker 1. I have stared at a message for 15 minutes just to decide whether "sometimes" sounds relaxed or emotionally unstable.
That's exactly the problem. People often make it too formal, but meeting a friend for coffee is usually casual. It should sound easy, not like a legal document.
I once wrote to a new colleague, "Would you be available for a warm beverage-based social appointment this Friday?"
No, you did not.
I absolutely did.
That sounds like a robot trying to make friends.
He said yes, though.
Out of concern, probably.
Fair.
A better way is simple. Do you want to grab coffee this week, or are you free for coffee on Saturday? That kind of invitation feels natural.
See, this is where I disagree a little.
Okay.
I think "sometime this week" is dangerous. It sounds easy, but then nobody chooses a real time and the plan floats away like a balloon.
That's true if you stop there, but I still think the tone should stay light. You can be warm and clear. Want to grab coffee this week? I'm free Thursday or Friday.
Ah, yes, casual but useful.
Exactly, like opening a door, not writing a speech.
That's a good metaphor. A coffee invitation should feel like holding out a hand, not submitting paperwork.
Years ago, I had a new friend at work and I wanted to know her better. I almost didn't ask because I thought it would feel strange. But then I just said, "Hey, do you want to get coffee after work one day?" She smiled immediately and said yes. The whole thing was much easier than the story I had created in my head.
That happens so often. The imagination makes the mountain. Real life gives you a small hill.
Exactly.
I had the opposite experience once. I tried to sound too relaxed. I said, "Yeah, maybe we can catch up at some point, whenever, no pressure, or not, totally fine."
That is not relaxed. That is panic wearing sunglasses.
Thank you. I know that now.
When you invite someone, it helps if both people are on the same page. Is this a quick coffee, a long catch-up, a first meeting after a long time? The energy changes the language.
Yes, if you haven't seen someone in 2 years, want to grab a quick coffee feels slightly rude.
Right, but it would be so nice to catch up properly. Are you free this weekend for coffee? Sounds warmer.
Also, if you're listening, here's something useful. You do not need a fancy sentence. Sometimes simple English feels friendlier. Are you free? Want to meet for coffee? How does Saturday sound?
And don't overthink the first message. A coffee invitation should feel like passing someone a note, not carrying a piano upstairs.
Unless you invite me before noon, then it is a piano.
Now let's imagine you arrive, sit down, and suddenly your brain goes blank.
Ah, yes, the classic moment when your vocabulary leaves through the back door.
Exactly. A lot of learners think they need a brilliant first sentence, but you really don't. The first few minutes are just for settling in and breaking the ice.
I used to think small talk was pointless.
Used to?
Fine, sometimes I still think that.
Of course you do.
I mean, if someone asks me, "So, how's your week been?" I know it's normal, but part of me wants to reply, emotionally, financially, spiritually.
Please do not do that in the first 30 seconds.
Cowardly advice, but sensible.
Small talk matters because it gives people time to arrive mentally. You're not only sitting in a chair, you're settling into the conversation.
That's true. It's like taking your coat off emotionally.
That is actually a lovely way to say it.
Thank you. I am occasionally useful.
I remember meeting an old school friend after many years. I was nervous because I didn't know if the connection would still feel easy. So we started very simply. How was the trip here? Have you been to this cafe before? What have you been up to lately? Nothing special, but it helped us relax.
And once people relax, the real conversation can begin.
Exactly. And here's a surprising fact for you. One study found that people who ask more follow-up questions are often liked more in conversation.
I love that. So the secret is not sounding impressive. The secret is being interested.
Yes, genuine curiosity is more powerful than perfect English.
That makes me happy because I've survived many conversations with nothing but interest and a strong face.
A strong face?
Yes, the face that says, "I am listening carefully, even when my brain is loading."
Very honest.
But I'll push back on something.
Go on.
I think people can hide inside small talk too long. At some point, if you keep asking about traffic, weather, and coffee beans, the conversation starts to feel like cardboard.
I agree, but I think timing matters. You don't jump straight from "how are you" to "what is your deepest regret."
That is a shame because that would save time.
No, it would scare people.
Fair.
So, in the first few minutes, try simple, friendly topics. How's your day going? Did you find the place easily? How's work lately? Then listen for something you can respond to.
Yes, if your friend says work has been really busy, don't just nod and drink coffee like a silent owl. You can say busy in a good way or a stressful way.
That's such a useful follow up.
I know, I can be socially valuable when properly fed.
And if you're listening, remember this. You do not need to sound clever in the beginning. You just need to sound open. Okay, now we reach my favorite part, the moment when the conversation becomes real. Yes, this is where you stop circling the surface and begin to open up a little.
Or a lot, depending on the coffee.
That depends on the friend.
True.
I think this is where many learners get stuck. They know how to say, "How are you?" but they don't know how to bring up something a little deeper without sounding strange.
Yes, you want the conversation to grow naturally, not fall down the stairs.
Exactly. One gentle way is to pick up something the other person already mentioned. If they say, "I've been tired lately," you can ask, "Tired because work has been busy or something else going on?"
That's good because it gives them room. They can answer lightly or they can open up more.
Right. You don't force the door, you knock.
That is such a perfect image. A good conversation is not breaking into someone's house. It's knocking and seeing if they want to invite you in.
Thank you.
I had a coffee with a close friend last year after he had gone through a breakup. At first, we talked about normal things, his job, his apartment, how bad the cafe music was, but I could tell something heavier was sitting behind his face. So I said, "You seem a bit quieter than usual. Do you want to talk about it, or should we stay with silly topics today?"
That's a really thoughtful question.
He looked so relieved. He said, "Actually, yes, I do want to talk." And then we had a very honest conversation.
That's a good example of being genuine without being pushy.
I try.
Here's where I disagree a little, though.
Excellent. Fight me gently.
I think some people love deep conversations so much that they forget the other person may just want a peaceful coffee.
I feel personally attacked.
You should. Not every cup of coffee needs to become emotional surgery.
But sometimes people are tired of pretending everything is fine.
I agree. I'm not saying stay shallow. I'm saying go with the flow of the other person.
That's fair.
Conversation is like walking across stepping stones in a river. You step from one safe thing to the next. Work, weekend, family, stress, hopes. If you jump too far too fast, you fall in.
That metaphor is annoyingly good.
Thank you.
So maybe the skill is listening for the doorway. If your friend says, "Honestly, it's been a weird month," that's a doorway.
Exactly. Then you can say, "Do you want to talk about it?" or "What's been going on?"
And if they keep it light, you keep it light.
Yes, you stay on the same page emotionally.
I also think it helps to share a little yourself. Not too much, just enough. If a friend says, "I've been overwhelmed," you can say, "I get that. I had a week like that recently too."
That creates warmth. It says you're not alone.
But careful, don't steal the whole conversation and make it about you.
Exactly. A coffee chat is not a stage performance.
Says the woman sitting with me.
Fair point. Now, let's talk about the part people fear most, awkward moments.
The small silences, the lost words, the strange joke that lands like a dead fish on the table.
That is very dramatic.
And painfully realistic.
Awkward moments are normal, especially in another language. They do not mean the conversation is failing.
I would like to disagree.
Of course you would.
Sometimes an awkward silence feels like the emotional end of civilization.
That is exactly the kind of drama I'm talking about.
Fine, maybe not civilization, but at least the end of charm.
No, silence is often just silence. People take a sip of coffee, they think, they look around. That's human.
I know, but in the moment it can feel huge.
That's true. I remember meeting a friend in Spanish once, and halfway through the conversation, I completely forgot a simple word. I stopped, laughed, and said, "I know this word in my head, but it refuses to come out." And she laughed too. The moment became lighter immediately.
That's so useful. Naming the awkwardness can remove its power.
Exactly. Sometimes the best thing to do is not hide, just be honest. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Or, what's the word for that again? Or even, I don't know how to explain this well, but
I've had that happen too. I was having coffee with a friend from abroad, and I tried to tell a funny story. Halfway through, I realized I had skipped one important detail, and the ending made no sense. I had to back up and say, wait, I need to fill in one missing piece or I sound insane.
that's very relatable.
He laughed so hard that the story became funnier than the original version.
See, awkward doesn't always mean bad. Sometimes it becomes connection.
Here's where I push back again.
Go ahead.
I still think too much silence can feel cold. If both people are nervous, someone has to save the moment.
I agree with that, but save the moment does not mean panicking and talking at high speed about random things.
That was one time.
It was too much.
Fair.
If a silence comes, you can gently restart. By the way, how is your sister doing? Or, you mentioned work earlier, how's that going now? This is where it helps to remember what the other person said.
Yes, a conversation is like carrying little threads. If you keep one thread in your hand, you can always pick it up again.
That is a beautiful image.
Thank you. I make them under pressure.
Also, if you do not understand something, please do not smile and pretend forever.
Oh, this is important.
You can say, sorry, what do you mean by that? Or, I didn't catch the last part. That is normal. That is natural.
And if you're listening, please hear this clearly. You are allowed to ask people to repeat themselves. That is not failure. That is conversation.
Now we arrive at a strangely difficult skill, ending the conversation. Yes, because sometimes the goodbye is harder than the hello. Absolutely. I once had coffee with a friend, and the actual conversation ended beautifully. Then we stood near the cafe door for 12 more minutes doing tiny goodbyes. Oh, no. It was terrible. We said, okay, see you soon, then remembered one more thing, then laughed, then repeated the goodbye, then started talking about umbrellas. That is such a real cafe experience. It was like trying to land a plane on a runway made of feelings. Great metaphor. Thank you. Pain again. Ending well matters because it leaves the final feeling. You want to wrap up warmly, not disappear like a thief. Unless the bill is shocking. Even then, be polite. Fine. A natural ending can be very simple. I should get going, but this was really nice. Or, I need to head out soon, but I'm so glad we met. These lines are gentle and clear. I like I should get going. It sounds polite, not dramatic. Exactly. Here's where I disagree though. About what? I think people sometimes fake the ending too much. They say, we absolutely must do this every week, and both people know that is a beautiful lie. That's fair. I think warmth should still be honest. Yes, don't promise a future coffee empire if you mean maybe in 2 months. Very true. A better line might be, let's do this again sometime, if you mean it. Or send me that cafe name you mentioned. Small, real follow-up lines feel more natural. Also, practical English matters here. If you're splitting the bill, it helps if you're on the same page. Should we split it? Do you want me to get this one? You got the last one, so I'll pay today. Yes, and those lines are extremely useful. I learned that after one awkward moment abroad when I assumed we were splitting the bill, and my friend assumed I was treating him. We both reached for our wallets like nervous actors in a bad play. How did it end? In confusion, laughter, and eventually shared payment. Good. Also, can I just say, this coffee really hit the spot is such a nice phrase. It is, very natural. It says the coffee was satisfying, warm, simple, successful. A small line, but it sounds friendly. And it can help soften the ending too. That really hit the spot. I needed this. Lovely, calm, human. Exactly. And maybe that's the big lesson from today. A coffee conversation in English does not need to be perfect. It just needs warmth, attention, and a little courage. Yes, start simply, break the ice, listen well, go with the flow, don't panic if it gets awkward, and when it's time to leave, wrap it up like a kind adult, not a confused ghost near the door. That is specific, but accurate, my specialty. And now it's time for our word tour, where we slow things down and look at some useful words and phrases from today's conversation.
These are all expressions we already use naturally, and they are very helpful for real everyday English.
Our first word is casual.
Casual means relaxed, informal, and not too serious.
Example 1, we wanted a casual coffee, not a formal meeting.
Example 2, her message sounded casual and friendly.
Repeat, casual.
Repeat. Casual.
Next is awkward.
Awkward means uncomfortable or slightly embarrassing.
Example 1, there was an awkward silence after my joke.
Example 2, it felt awkward when I forgot her name for a second.
Repeat, awkward.
Repeat. Awkward.
Our third word is genuine.
Genuine means real, honest, and sincere.
Example 1, he asked a genuine question and really listened to the answer.
Example 2, people usually respond well to genuine interest.
Repeat, genuine.
Repeat. Genuine.
Now let's move to a phrasal verb, catch up.
Catch up means talk with someone after some time apart and share updates about life.
Example 1, I met an old friend for coffee so we could catch up.
Example 2, we had not spoken for months, so we had a lot to catch up on.
Repeat, catch up.
Repeat. Catch up.
Next is bring up.
Bring up means introduce a topic into the conversation.
Example 1, she brought up her new job during coffee.
Example 2, I didn't know how to bring up a sensitive subject.
Repeat, bring up.
Repeat. Bring up.
Our next phrasal verb is open up.
Open up means start talking more honestly about your feelings or personal thoughts.
Example 1, he opened up about feeling stressed at work.
Example 2, some people open up slowly and that is okay.
Repeat, open up.
Repeat. Open up.
And one more phrasal verb, wrap up.
Wrap up means finish something in a natural, polite way.
Example 1, we wrapped up the conversation and headed home.
Example 2, I need to wrap up soon because I have another appointment.
Repeat, wrap up.
Repeat. Wrap up.
Now let's look at some common expressions. First, break the ice.
Break the ice means say or do something that helps people feel less nervous at the start of a conversation.
Example 1, a simple question about the cafe can break the ice.
Example 2, humor sometimes helps break the ice if it feels natural.
Repeat, break the ice.
Repeat. Break the ice.
Next is go with the flow.
Go with the flow means relax and follow the natural direction of what is happening instead of controlling everything.
Example 1, I didn't plan every topic. I just went with the flow.
Example 2, good conversations often work better when you go with the flow.
Repeat, go with the flow.
Repeat. Go with the flow.
Another useful expression is on the same page.
On the same page means understanding something in the same way.
Example 1, before we ordered, we made sure we were on the same page about the bill.
Example 2, it helps when both friends are on the same page about the kind of conversation they want.
Repeat, on the same page.
Repeat. On the same page.
And our final expression is hit the spot.
Hit the spot means be exactly satisfying or exactly what you needed.
Example 1, that hot coffee really hit the spot on a cold day.
Example 2, after a long week, a quiet chat with a friend hit the spot.
Repeat, hit the spot.
Repeat. Hit the spot.
These words and phrases are useful because they help you talk about real friendship, real conversation, and real everyday moments.
Yes, this is the kind of English people actually use, not strange textbook lines like, the businessman discussed umbrellas with a melon.
I would still listen to that conversation.
Honestly, same.
Try choosing 2 or 3 of today's expressions and use them this week.
Maybe say, we need to catch up, or that was a bit awkward, or let's wrap this up.
Little by little, that's how vocabulary becomes part of your real speaking life. As we finish today's episode, I keep thinking about one simple idea. A good coffee conversation in English is not about sounding perfect. It's about making the other person feel comfortable with you.
Yes, and that's such a relief, honestly. You do not need amazing grammar, a giant vocabulary, or the voice of a movie star. You need warmth, curiosity, and a few useful phrases.
Exactly. Start simple. Ask real questions. Listen carefully. Let the conversation breathe.
And if there's a strange silence, don't assume the universe has ended.
It has not.
Thank you for confirming.
So, here's our quiet question for you today. When you sit down with someone for coffee, what kind of feeling do you want to create in that conversation? Calm, fun, honest, light? Think about that.
If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who wants to speak more natural English.
And tell us in the comments, what is your favorite thing to talk about when you meet a friend for coffee? This is Sarah.
And this is Saeem.
And you have been listening to Easy Talk English. Bye.